who had conned their way across the United States. Often, the people they duped seemed to vanish without a trace. Did they murder wealthy New York socialite Irene Silverman? And could Sante Kimes even have killed her millionaire husband? It was 1994 when Kenneth Kimes Sr. suddenly died. It was a mysterious death, one that still troubles Sante's other son, Kent Walker. Once again, here's Keith Morrison.
Surrounded by the brilliant sunshine and quiet wealth of Santa Barbara, California, Sante Kimes' outlook must have been very bleak indeed. Her partner of 25 years was suddenly dead. But if that upset her, hardly anyone knew, because Sante kept Kenneth's death a secret, even from her own son. Here's how he found out weeks later on a school break.
Kenny got off the plane and says, "Where's Papa?" Well, Papa was in her hands in a vase, and they were going to scatter his ashes. Kenny had no idea.
Official cause of death, aneurysm. But Kent Walker says he can't help wondering if his mother had something to do with it. He spoke with his stepfather in the days before he died.
He sounded very nervous, and he said that he'd been poisoned. I just really prayed to God it's not true.
But you wonder.
Always will. Always will.
But for the rest of the world, the deception continued. First, to be printed on Kimes' death certificate, she gave a stolen Social Security number. Then she asked the coroner not to release his report, not to reveal that Kimes had died.
She said that he just wasn't there. Maybe he was out of the area, Bahamas.
But why all the secrecy? Why did she need to make it look like he was alive?
Kenneth Kimes has told family members that he was not married to Sante Kimes. I have a feeling that he felt intimidated by her, as many people have felt intimidated.
They weren't married? The record is unclear. She has offered several different dates. NBC News found this marriage certificate filed in Las Vegas in 1981. Officials in Nevada say it may or may not be accurate. But there was something else that would be even more frightening to a woman who panicked at the very idea of poverty. She wasn't in the will. Whether or not she knew it, Kenneth Kimes' only known last testament, written before he ever met Sante, leaves every penny to the two children from his first marriage.
We know of no later will. No one has ever produced a later document.
So if Kenneth's death became known, if that will was invoked, Sante might well be penniless. What was it worth to her to keep the secret? Lawyer Lawrence Hale has dealt with Sante Kimes before and has no doubt.
I believe that Sante Kimes would do whatever she needed to do to accomplish her aims. I think she's a complete sociopath. I wouldn't put anything past her. If it serves her purpose to burn something, she will burn it. If it serves her purpose to sew someone up, she'll sew them up. If it serves her purpose to kill someone, I think she'll kill them.
According to Bahamian sources, Sante went to Nassau after Ken Sr. died and took control of the multi-million-dollar Kimes bank accounts there. 2 years after Kimes' death, the bank discovered suspicious transactions. The bank auditor was last seen in Sante Kimes' house, then vanished. There is evidence she was even keeping the secret, pretending Kenneth was alive 4 years after his death.
I truly felt that I had a second mother. She was good to me. I had feelings for this woman. She was wonderful.
So Sante ran the Kimes estate, showered Caroline with her generous friendship, and asked in return for favors.
Documentations. She'd be transferring title to one name to another, and
she needed
corporation.
some help.
Yeah, and I was always there for her, always there for her.
Do you wonder if she was, in retrospect, if maybe she was using you to transfer some documents that oughtn't to have been transferred?
I don't know about the using part. Maybe I was being used. It hurts me.
NBC News obtained information about a series of transfers. They concern this valuable property, 170 building lots owned by Kenneth Kimes in Santa Maria, California. Those documents show Sante not only took control of the property, but used more forged documents to make it look like the land was being bought and sold by Nevada corporations. How is it possible to pass off forgery so often as the real thing?
She has journals. And if you go into these journals, and I've seen some of these journals, you will see that she is taking pages and practicing people's signatures.
So what is it about Sante, who started out tough on the streets of L.A. and never felt rich enough to quit grabbing for more?
Just how far would Sante Kimes go to get what she wanted? When we come back, police follow a trail of fraud, arson, and slavery.
Our opinion, they enslaved the guy. I mean, they made him cook for him and clean for him and put this house in his name so they could get insurance. And when he got out of line, I think they physically intimidated him and maybe even physically harmed him.
In Utah, there are claims of check fraud. In Nevada, it's arson. In the Bahamas, it's murder. And just after the 4th of July holiday, 1998, police in New York are asking questions about Sante and Kenneth Kimes. Questions about the disappearance of a wealthy widow and about one of her tenants. Once again, here's Keith Morrison.
What happened at the home of 82-year-old Irene Silverman? Why did Kenny move in there? Were they about to steal her mansion? Why did police reportedly find in their possession a forged deed to the mansion, Mrs. Silverman's passport, phony ID, and a gun? And where is Mrs. Silverman? Acquaintances remember echoes from the past, like what Sante told Tim Davis on her return from a previous trip to New York.
And she came back and she said that she's going to buy this fine Manhattan 5-story house and rent out the rooms to the rich.
You can't con a con man, goes the saying. They're so hard to catch. Was Jim Blackner in Cedar City, Utah, about to find that out?
This car is very much like the one that you sold to the Kimes.
Other than maybe the color.
When Blackner arranged to deliver a car to Sante Kimes at the famous Beverly Wilshire Hotel in Beverly Hills, he had every expectation that things would go as smoothly as they always had, until the check bounced. Naturally, Blackner called Mrs. Kimes, and she seemed stunned.
She told me that she had given him the wrong check. She apologized and was going to take care of it right away.
But she didn't. Instead, she made it more complicated.
She wanted me to get her another car, replace that one. And she would just make good on both of them all in one transaction.
And you were thinking,
uh-oh.
His suspicions now fully aroused, Blackner called a friend, a police detective named Lynn Davis, and he had an idea.
Set up a sting, some type of a sting with them, go down and repossess your car.
So they did, or tried to. A meeting was arranged. The Kimes set the time and place. This time it was Las Vegas, another fancy hotel, the Hilton, April 4th, 1998, 10 a.m.
We're sitting there waiting for the Kimeses. They never show at 10 o'clock.
Then Davis got a phone call. Sante Kimes with instructions.
She says, we want you to leave the Hilton, drive over to a restaurant called Landry's.
By then, Davis realized the Kimes were one step ahead of him.
They're setting us up. They're watching us. They're running counter surveillance on us. And that bugged the hell out of me, because this is supposed to have been a simple deal.
Driving through the Las Vegas sun is one unhappy detective. He was sure they were grifters, but he still didn't get the car. Like so many others who came across the Kimes, he came up empty-handed.
Had a 911 call that there was a smoke coming from a house there on Geronimo.
A fire inspector was also about to discover how hard it was to catch the Kimes. January 31st, the Kimes Las Vegas house burned down, and Fire Inspector Mike Patterson brought along his arson-sniffing dog.
She alerted in about probably 14 different places throughout the house.
14 different places where flammable liquid had been put
And poured, you know, you're talking where they pour and walk backwards maybe with it.
Somebody wanted to make that house disappear.
They did.
Patterson and his department realized they were dealing with a criminal act. Now they had to figure out who did it and why. Naturally, the inspector wanted to talk to the Kimes.
But we couldn't find hide nor hair of them.
Couldn't find it.
They never called about the house, never called about the fire, anything. Never made contact with the fire department.
Then finally someone did call about the Kimes' burned-out home, but it wasn't the Kimes. Patterson was about to discover how elusive the Kimes could be.
The man who called him was a stranger named Robert McCarran, demanding that the insurance company pay up. But who was he? And what did he have to do with the Kimes? And why did he say he would talk to the insurance company only if they'd have the meeting in the very public lobby of a Los Angeles hotel?
Well, we found out eventually that Mr. McCarran was nothing but a front for the Kimes.
A patsy who'd been living in a homeless shelter, who the Kimes had listed as the owner of their home. Then the plan comes undone. The patsy departs. A terrified McCarran calls police to say he's just escaped imprisonment by the Kimes. That meeting in the hotel lobby, McCarran told them the Kimes had been listening in to ensure their patsy didn't slip up.
Our opinion, they enslaved the guy. I mean, they made him cook for him and clean for him and put this house in his name so they could get insurance. And when he got out of line, I think they physically intimidated him and maybe even physically harmed him. He feared for his life, according to the transcripts I've read.
But at least McCarran was alive. On March 14th, Los Angeles police found the body of this man, David Kasdan, in an L.A. dumpster. He had been shot in the head. Now the LAPD was trying to untangle the mystery of the Kimes. But what did Kasdan have to do with the Kimes? Police discovered that Kasdan was a long-time real estate investor and acquaintance of the Kimes. They learned that Kasdan had also been a front for the Kimes property in Las Vegas. His name was also on the deed, and someone had taken out a mortgage in Kasdan's name on the Kimes house. And not long after, Kasdan turned up dead. What a year it had been. A shady mortgage deal, a fire that looked like arson, a bounced check, a homeless man who claimed he was enslaved, and a body in a dumpster. Now investigators were eager to talk to the Kimes. But there's an old rule every grifter knows. You gotta keep moving. And where'd the Kimes go? New coast, same old scam. In April, in a motorhome, they wound up